Hey y'all, welcome back to TNT Gaming. I'm your girl Tasha.
I'm T. What's up?
So what we doing today, babe?
All right, so we are wrapping up the last part of Bricky's video on factions, in which so far in the last video you learned about the Sisters of Silence, the Grey Knights, the Adeptus Manicus, and so I didn't want to overload you with too much content, but
Yeah.
now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna wrap up with the. I think he left off with the assassins, and so you got any questions so far?
No, not any questions, but I'm sure by the end of the video I shall.
Okay, all right, gotcha. So guys, leave your thoughts and your comments down below in the comment section. Let's go ahead and jump into this and enter the grimdark.
Yeah.
It's been a long video. We're about to round it out. We got this and one more human thing, and then we're done. The assassins, though, the Officio Assassinorum, oh boy, these people are deadly. Yeah, they're called assassins. They should be, but oh man, these people will mess you up. So these are from the Officio Assassinorum, a very special organization, and they are handpicked by the Grand Master of the Officio Assassinorum from the what was it called? Schola Progenium. It's basically an orphan school. Your parents got murdered by demons or something, you get sent to this and you get trained to be whatever. Tempestus drop troop, an inquisitor maybe even.
Oh, cool.
Maybe you get a blank gene and you get thrown into the Sisters of Silence, or sometimes you just disappear. When you are taken, however, you go to one of 4 temples because the Assassinorum works in the temple style of things. These temples are the Vindicare, Culexus, Callidus, and Eversor Temples. Let's start with the Vindicare. I'm far away. I've been sitting here for 3 weeks.
Oh.
Poof! The Vindicare Temple is the main sniper-based temple. Gigantic sniper rifles for all these assassins. Their whole point is to be able to be in a spot and sit there, eye and scope, for weeks, waiting for their perfect target, taking people out from literal miles away after extremely long time periods. The Vindicare Temple is about precise, perfect aim. There have been reports of Vindicares being able to single out particular body parts from over 2-3 miles away. Temples in the head, the jugular, for instance, and been sitting there after weeks. And when they're ready, take that shot, time is done, packs them up. The Callidus Temple, however, is a lot more about shape-shifting and deviant art. It's mostly a female-based one, or at least it seems to be, and this allows a lot of body augmentation for certain individuals to be able to kind of transmorph themselves and infiltrate areas that are problems. These assassins will end up taking missions that take them years, 2-3 years, to infiltrate a heretical group and slowly work their way up just to get enough time to put a bullet into the main target's head and then escape unharmed, or become the main target and sabotage it from within. These are all completely about deception, mind tricks, polymorphing, and everything in between.
Cool.
And lots of drawings. Lots. The Eversor Temple. Just kind of disturbing one. The Eversor Temple is about when you don't want anything to come back alive, friend or foe. You want it all dead. An Eversor is psychogenically conditioned with just psychotherapy and psychological torture to only feel violence, hatred, and anger. It does the Clockwork Orange style of thing of just making you forced to watch never-ending pain and misery and psycho conditioning, I guess is the term. And then they pump you full of tons of psychedelic drugs and they cryo-freeze you. And then they drop you in an area where they just want to make sure everything is dead. And then you defrost, full of just all this insane, mind-boggling psychotherapy and psychedelic drugs, and you just go to town. If you don't care.
It is. That's almost like dropping a human nuclear bomb on a community or something.
Yeah, but they kind of tortured these people.
Yeah.
And then it looks like they kind of removed their skins and not skins, but skin, and they're like Skeletor.
Yeah.
But they have every right to be like upset because everything that was done to them, and it's like, what's going on in their mind?
Remember what you said when we watched that video? You were like, humans are weak. Flesh is weak.
So they got rid of the flesh, literally.
Basically. They just get rid of all your humanity.
Yikes.
In order to make you an assassin.
He's a Skeletor.
Right.
Anyone comes back alive, you're like, all right, lost cause. Send them in. Finally, there's the most bizarre temple, the Culexus Temple. The Culexus assassins are feared even among the other temples. So that blank gene, the people will go to the Culexus Temple with this as well. And this is where they can harness that to be massively anti-psyker or even just anti-regular people. They're seen with extreme fear and distrust among many, many people. They're described by the Eldar by quote as being pure evil. Imagine that uncomfortable feeling from that blank gene I mentioned, and then imagine them being taught and given equipment to amplify it by 100. If normally regular people feel uncomfortable, now they are basically akin to being a siren wailing directly in your ear. And if you're a psyker, oh no. The sheer presence of a Culexus assassin is enough for you to tear your skin off. You will rather gouge your eyes out and rip your nails off than even being near this person. The Culexus assassin is when you want psychers to literally lose their minds, and they will go on their knees and ask you to gun them down because it is a suitable choice over being anywhere near you. The motto of that temple is, that which is unknown and unseen commands the greatest fear. Now for the tabletop, assassins aren't that special. You can call them in no matter what Imperium faction you are, and they do a lot of work for themselves, but at the same time, they're very specialized and require a lot of finesse. And they work the way you generally want them to, though. You want to cause some distortion and weird stuff, you take a Callidus. You want to just murder swaths of infantry and then blow up Eversor. You want to kill that one guy, Vindicare, and if you have a lot of psychers, Culexus. It's a nice little, like, jack of all trades if you have a specific thing you want to kill. And you get to choose which is really fun. But now, let's talk about the last human faction. We can round this video out before we do part 2, the Inquisition. And we have a lot to talk about with them. On the subject of heresy! Oh boy. Where do I even begin with the Inquisition? Take every secret police you can think of. The KGB, the Gestapo, the CIA, FBI, any of these kinds of people. And then mark it up by about 10 and give them the most power in the entire Imperium.
Oh.
No, you know what? How about this? This right here, it's not just a quote. This is the Imperial motto, the motto of the Inquisition. I apologize for my bad pronunciation. Innocentia nihil probat. Innocence proves nothing.
Well, damn.
The most powerful organization in the Imperium.
So they don't give a damn.
The secret police.
They do not
Their
give
number
a
one
fuck.
motto is innocence proves nothing. The Inquisition goes around like the secret police or like detectives to find issues in the Imperium. And they have different ordos depending on which one we're talking about. The Ordo Hereticus, the Ordo Xenos, the Ordo Malleus, for instance, and a whole bunch of other ones. Hereticus is obvious, they deal with heretics. Xenos tries to find alien threats, and Malleus is demons. They all have different specializations in what they're trying to go for as this Inquisitor. And that's what they're called, Inquisitors. Each of them, as an Inquisitor, has their own free reign to do as they wish. They may have a ship and a crew, and they go out to find problems and interrogate people a lot. They are above the law in every department over Space Marines. Now, the Space Marines might argue against them and stuff, and there might be a lot of blowback, but technically they are above them.
That's
as
a floating
Inquisitors.
church.
Yeah.
They are looking to investigate and figure out coups and cults and demonic incursions and possible Xenos issues like gene stealers or a new threat coming into an area. They're about learning that stuff and actually doing detective work. And memes aside, they're pretty good at it. The Inquisition having all of this power does make them a little bit power hungry and frantic sometimes. And yes, it is still a bad thing, but most of them are pretty good at their job. And they spend a lot of time being very diligent to make sure that all of these leads they follow are proper and correct. They're basically space detectives with just enormous power and sometimes a bit of a power complex. And
So you remember when we were learning about the Adeptus Custodes, the guards who watch the Emperor, and
With
sometimes they've been
on.
there for with the gold on,
and they've been there for 100 years.
Yeah, and you were saying, well, what if they thought about this or thought about that?
Yeah, what if they thought this on some bullshit?
Right, yeah.
Go live my life.
Right, yeah. Say for instance, you mumbled that, and then somebody heard you, and then now you have a detective inquisitor breathing down your back to see, like, what did you say?
Well, I don't even think from the
that?
way he's describing that, I don't think they would even say that, because they said innocence proves nothing. So imagine if they consider you guilty.
Right, yeah.
And they just go around just killing everything.
Right, yeah.
Everything, everybody in sight.
Right. Corpse starch.
We haven't even talked about Exterminatus yet. Exterminatus is deeming a planet unfit to be saved. I deem that this planet is demon infested, and taking it back will cost too many resources and is not worth it. I have now committed Exterminatus on this planet. I will now sign the death warrant of an entire Imperium planet, as it is unfit to take and better to be destroyed than allow the enemy to hold it. This can mean saturation bombardment. This can mean cracking the planet's core and breaking it apart. Doesn't matter. Render this planet inhospitable to all life. Yes, the innocence proves nothing people are the only people who can choose this planet must die in its entirety. Yeah, you're playing the villain. Now, it is memed a lot, but most Inquisitors are very rare to do Exterminatus. Exterminatus is a very crazy thing. There's only so many worlds that you don't want to destroy all of them. Now, naturally, with the memes aside, there are some people who are a little bit rough on this one. But most Inquisitors generally don't like to do Exterminatus a ton, but it is an option they have. And it's a crazy option when you think about it. Secret Police Inquisition are unfortunately not represented on the tabletop very much. You generally kind of put one in your army if you feel like it. You have a couple special options there and some side content, but they're not really fleshed out very well, and personally they need a lot more stuff put in there, and they really need a lot more effort put into them, and they're not quite where I want them to be. Overall, the Inquisition makes for a lot of the best storytelling as well, because it's a little bit hard to talk about a big story of a whole bunch of space marines killing something, right? It's just a big battle story. It's not as interesting. Having that intrigue and that moral dilemma that an Inquisitor has makes for a lot better media. And honestly, the more people do it, I think it's better, because then it adds a little more humanity to the Warhammer horrible, horrible grimdarkness. And wow, we just finished the humans, all right? Come back for part 2 when we talk about Chaos and Xenos, because we got to talk about the 4 Chaos Gods and all the Chaos Marine Legions and the Tau and the Necrons and the Orks, and oh boy, we got a lot. I'll see you in part 2.
Now, some of them didn't look human, though. The ones that look like Skeletor, they did not look human at all.
I think that for some of them, it's either like a mask or a helmet, or they're actually like disfigured, because of course they add on to like the mechanical parts of their body.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Definitely very interesting.
Right.
Very grimdark is a great description, and it's like, who thought of something like this? It took, I don't know, some kind of interesting mind to like imagine all of this up.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And I think we were talking about this before, but a lot of it is rooted in
the
humanity.
church.
It's rooted in religion. It's rooted in our history, in how mankind has acted throughout the years.
Yeah, but this is
this is just like times 1,000 or 10 or 40,000.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
to the 40,000 power.
If man is left to his own devices, you know, this is maybe where it would lead. If there was like, you know, even if we were populated by like 4 Satan chaos gods, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, you know.
Ooh, might have to watch something happy after this.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you think about your journey with 40K overall so far? Because for the most part, we jumped into the warp. You learn about the Imperium of Man. We're still scratching the surface because there's other factions that you haven't learned about, like the Orks or the Tau or the Tyranids. And so, for everything that you've learned so far, that you've taken in, how do you feel about that so far?
I feel like it's still a lot of information to take in.
Yeah.
I only remember like some of the factions.
Right. Yeah.
But from what I've learned, it makes me want to learn more, to immerse myself in it even more, even though I said it was like very dark.
Right.
But just the parallel between the church and me growing up in the church makes me interested to see how far this will be taken.
Right.
You know, because I did say, you know, it takes like a really imaginative mind to take it this far. But then there are people, like you said, if humanity is left to its own devices, who's to say that people wouldn't go that far?
Yeah, right.
You know, and especially if that's all you know.
Yeah, right. So, have you decided on a faction so far? Like, if you were a part of the 40K universe, where would you side? Who would you side with? Where would you side with? Would you be with the Eldar? Would you be with the Chaos Gods?
Adaptus Sororitas.
The Sororitas?
Yeah, Sororita. It sounds like a sorority of
Sisters.
Crazy nuns.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I could identify with that. Not being one myself, but just knowing people who have, like I said, growing up in the Baptist church and how some of the women did some of the things. I see that parallel.
Okay.
Yeah, they seem very cool.
Interesting. So, guys, we're going to continue our journey with Warhammer 40K. As always, like, share, and subscribe. Y'all can leave your thoughts and suggestions down below in the comment section. As always, we'll see y'all next time. Take care. Peace.